What if the most powerful man in ancient Rome left behind more than just a legacy of conquest and reform? What if he left behind a hidden bloodline, one deliberately erased from history?
When Julius Caesar fell beneath the daggers of conspirators on the Ides of March in 44 BCE, the Roman world plunged into uncertainty.
His will named an heir.
His allies claimed his vision.
We stand with you, our king. Your vision is ours to uphold. Together, we forge the eternal path.
But beneath the surface of political theater and public declarations, whispers spread across Rome and beyond. Did Caesar have a secret child, one whose existence threatened the very foundation of Roman power?
To unravel this mystery, we must step into the final years of the Roman Republic, a time of ambition, betrayal, and transformation.
Caesar was no ordinary leader.
Rising through military brilliance and political cunning, he reshaped Rome's destiny.
But his personal life was just as strategic as his campaigns.
His relationships were rarely just romantic. They were tools of alliance, influence, and power.
Among these, none has sparked more speculation than his connection with Cleopatra.
Their meeting in Alexandria is the stuff of legend. Cleopatra, facing threats to her throne, aligned herself with Caesar, securing both political survival and Roman backing. Ancient accounts describe her dramatic entrance, smuggled into Caesar's presence,
determined to win his favor.
What followed was more than diplomacy.
It was a partnership that blended politics, romance, and ambition.
And from this union came a child, Caesarion, officially named Ptolemy 50 Philopator Caesar.
To Cleopatra, there was no doubt. This child was the true son of Caesar, a living bridge between Egypt and Rome.
She presented Caesarion as his legitimate heir, even naming him co-ruler of Egypt.
But Rome was not Egypt. The legions of Rome clash with the pharaohs of Egypt. Their powers are distinct, their fates intertwined.
Roman law and tradition placed enormous weight on legitimacy, citizenship, and political acceptance. Despite his power, Caesar never publicly acknowledged Caesarion as his official heir under Roman law.
Instead, in his will, he named his grandnephew Octavian as his adopted son. This decision would shape the future of the Roman world.
Adoption in Rome was not unusual. It was a powerful legal tool, allowing families to secure succession and preserve lineage. This was crucial for lineage continuity. By adopting Octavian, Caesar ensured continuity within Roman tradition.
But this also raises a haunting question. If Caesarion was truly his biological son, why exclude him? Some historians argue that Caesar faced a dilemma. Acknowledging a foreign-born child, especially one tied to Egypt, could destabilize Rome.
Cleopatra was seen by many Romans as an outsider, exotic, powerful, and
An outsider, dangerous to Rome.
Her power and mystery were a threat to the empire. Her influence over Caesar sparked unease, even resentment.
Recognizing Caesarion might have meant inviting Egypt into the heart of Roman politics, something the Senate and the people might never accept. In this light,
Caesar's silence could have been a calculated move to protect his position.
Yet others believe the truth may be more complex. Ancient sources are limited, often biased, and shaped by political agendas. Writers under the rule of Augustus had every reason to reinforce his legitimacy while downplaying any rival claims.
Could there have been more to Caesar's personal life than what was recorded? Could other children, unacknowledged, hidden, or erased, have existed beyond the reach of official history?
While no concrete evidence supports the existence of another secret child, the gaps in the historical record leave room for speculation.
After Caesar's assassination, the question of his legacy became more than symbolic. It became a matter of survival.
Rome was thrown into chaos as factions vied for control.
Octavian, young but ambitious, moved swiftly to secure his position as Caesar's heir.
I will rise and claim what is mine.
My destiny is at hand.
At the same time, Cleopatra returned to Egypt, elevating Caesarion as her co-ruler and strengthening his claim as Caesar's biological son.
For a moment, two visions of Caesar's legacy stood in opposition. One Roman, one Heir. Roman and Egyptian legacies converge. I embody their eternal power.
This tension would ultimately explode during the final war of the Roman Republic. On one side stood Octavian, representing Rome's traditional power structure. On the other stood Mark Antony and Cleopatra, who together promoted Caesarion as the rightful heir. Their alliance was more than political. It was symbolic of a potential new order, one that blended Roman authority with Egyptian monarchy.
The stakes could not have been higher.
If Caesarion's claims succeeded, the future of Rome might look radically different. Instead of the Roman Empire as we know it, history might have seen a hybrid dynasty, one rooted in both Roman and Egyptian traditions.
But this possibility was precisely what Octavian sought to prevent.
Octavian, your hybrid vision ends now! I will not yield to your tyranny!
A decisive moment came after the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, where Octavian's forces defeated Antony and Cleopatra.
With their power broken, the final obstacle remained: Caesarion.
At just 17 years old, he represented a living challenge to Octavian's authority. Young Caesarion, your claim defies the empire's will.
According to historical accounts, Caesarion attempted to flee but was captured.
What followed was swift and ruthless.
On Octavian's orders, Caesarion was executed in 30 BCE.
An ancient phrase echoes through this moment: too many Caesars is not good.
Whether spoken as advice or justification, it captures the brutal reality of Roman politics.
In a world defined by power and lineage, even the possibility of a rival heir was enough to warrant elimination.
With Caesarion's death, the last known biological son of Julius Caesar disappeared, and with him, the most direct alternative to Octavian's rule.
So, was there truly a secret child of Julius Caesar?
The historical record points to Caesarion as the only credible candidate. There is no solid evidence of another hidden heir. Yet the idea persists, not because of proof, but because of possibility. Rome was a world where narratives were controlled, where history was written by victors, and where inconvenient truths could be buried. Octavian, who would become Augustus, went on to establish the Roman Empire, ushering in an era of relative stability known as the Pax Romana. His reign redefined Rome's identity, transforming it from a republic into an empire.
But his rise was built on more than victory. It was built on the careful shaping of legacy.
By positioning himself as Caesar's rightful heir, Augustus ensured that his version of history would endure.
And yet, shadows remain. What if Caesarion had lived?
What if he had escaped, grown to power, and claimed his place as Caesar's true son?
Could Rome have embraced a ruler with Egyptian blood?
Could the empire have taken a different path? One that merged cultures instead of conquering them? These questions may never be answered.
But they remind us that history is not just a record of what happened. It is also a reflection of what was allowed to be remembered.
The story of Julius Caesar's secret child is not just about one boy or one claim.
It is about power, perception, and the fragile nature of truth in a world ruled by ambition.
Because sometimes the greatest secrets are not hidden in darkness, they are erased in plain sight. So as you look back on the rise of Rome, ask yourself, was Caesarion truly the last of Caesar's bloodline, or just the last one history allowed us to see? Type Hidden Stories if you want to uncover more untold mysteries buried deep within history.